News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. No writer knew America, loved America, or could write about America better than Samuel Clemens. Even his nom de plume was distinctly American. It was the shout of the leadsman on the Mississippi River steamers, "By the Mark Twain," and it meant that the boat had just passed over a shallow and treacherous place and was now in water deep enough, clear enough, and safe enough. One of Mark Twain's best-known and most beloved characters was Tom Sawyer, whose schoolboy adventures are still part of the schooling of every American boy and girl. But did you know that Tom Sawyer grew older and had more adventures and was called upon to solve a murder and save an innocent man from the noose?
Tom, listen.
What's that?
Look, through the window. All those men headed this way.
What do they want?
Tom, they say my father killed Jupiter Dunlap.
Well, now, there's no proof.
Well, sometimes people get so mad they don't need proof.
You stay inside. Stay with your father. Hand me his musket.
Yeah, but Tom, there's 15, maybe 20 of them.
You'd be surprised what one man with one gun can do.
Our mystery drama, Tom Sawyer, Detective, was adapted from the Mark Twain classic, especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan, and stars Christopher Tabori. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Buick's 1976 Century Regal is the most luxurious midsize car Buick builds. But it's also got a practical side. In fact, it makes a concession to practicality that no other American midsize car does. It comes with a V6 engine, and a Buick V6 at that. Regal, it's got the spirit. That's how it's gonna be.
Monday night at the International House of Pancakes, and I'm Bob Hopp, here at the IHOP with the Invisible Man. See through me. See, where are you?
I'm over here, Bob.
Where?
Over here, by the Patty Melt Banquet.
Oh, there you are. At least there's the Patty Melt Banquet. Did you know that every Monday is Patty Melt Banquet night at the IHOP?
Of course. I come to the IHOP every Monday because this Patty Melt Banquet is
out of sight.
Right.
A ground beef patty, cheese, onions, all on rye bread, grilled in butter, served with French fries and a salad with your choice of dressings for only $1.69.
At that price, these Patty Melt Banquets should really disappear.
Monday night, Patty Melt Banquet night, only $1.69 from 4 p.m. till midnight at your International House of Pancakes. One of 7 great family nights. Right, see? See?
Pancakes, IHOP, for really good reasons.
If you read Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, you will recall that Tom and Huck had some rattling first-rate adventures at old Uncle Silas's farm in Arkansas. Well, it is now some years later, and Tom is much older, but Tom is still Tom, and Aunt Polly is still Aunt Polly. And when Aunt Polly calls, Tom Sawyer still jumps.
Tom?
Yes, ma'am.
Tom? I reckon you gotta pack up and go down to Arkansas. Your Uncle Silas needs you.
Yes, ma'am.
There's in considerable trouble down there. They think you'll be a kind of diversion for 'em.
What sort of trouble, Aunt Polly?
There's a neighbor wanting to marry your cousin Benita, and she just said point blank she won't have him. So he soured on him, and they're worried about it. You remember the Dunlaps from when you was down there?
Oh, yes, Aunt Polly. As I recall, Brace Dunlap's the richest man in the county. About 36, a widower, and proud of his money, too.
That's right.
Everyone's a bit afraid of him. Is he the one Benita said no to?
And I guess it must have set him back some. Well, Silas is trying to soften the blow.
I don't follow you, Aunt Polly.
He feels he can't afford to have a powerful man like Brace Dunlap mad at him. So he's trying to curry favor by hiring Brace's brother Jupiter to do some work around the farm.
How can Uncle Silas afford to hire anybody? He's so hard-pushed and poor as it is.
What a name, Jupiter. From what Benita writes, he's sly, lazy, and sneaky.
That's right. I remember Jupiter. And I also recall he was a twin. The other brother was named Jake.
You mean there's 3 Dunlaps for your poor old Uncle Silas to contend with?
No, Aunt Polly. We don't have to worry about old Jake Dunlap. He got to robbing and killing, but he escaped from jail, went north somewhere, and nobody's heard from him in years. Everyone says he's probably dead by now.
That's a mercy. The thing that's mostly worrying your cousin Benita is the tempers that no-account Jupiter gets your Uncle Silas into.
Tempers? Aunt Polly, you must be joking. Dear old Uncle Silas? Why, he don't have any temper.
Well, he does now. She says your uncle's a changed man on account of all this quarreling. Everybody blames Silas, because after all, he's a preacher, and he got no call to quarrel in the first place. So he hates to go into the pulpit. He's so ashamed. And folks have begun to cool toward him. All on account of that Dunlap tribe. And the worst of it is...
You mean there's more?
Well, poor Benita feels it's her fault. So she's thinking maybe she better marry Brace Dunlap after all.
Oh, no, Aunt Polly. We can't let her do that. We just can't. I remember my cousin Benita as so sweet and kind. And I remembered Brace Dunlap as so hard and sour. I was sure he'd be cool to her. I had to put a stop to this. How? Maybe when I'd get there, I'd figure out a plan. Well, the trip began lucky enough. I caught a steamer headed all the way down the lower Mississippi, so I wouldn't have to change at St. Louis. And it was a quiet enough trip, till we stopped at some little one-horse town just below the Arkansas line. And I seen these 2 men come aboard. One was very tall. The other was very short, but both looked powerful and mean. I noticed they stood by the rail and just stared at everybody on board. Now, they're looking for someone, I said to myself, and I believe that someone ain't going to be happy to see them. But it was clear they weren't looking for me. So I went below to my cabin, and I closed the door. I was about to strike a light when I heard a sound. There was no mistaking that sound. Nothing in this world sounds exactly like it. It was a pistol being cocked. Don't strike a light. You're holding the trump card in your hand, mister. What are you aiming on doing?
I'm aiming on staying in here.
For how long? But I don't have to ask. I know.
What do you know?
You're hiding from the 2 men on deck. The tall one and the...
How would you know?
I figured it out.
How?
Well, it's truth, ain't it? But I'm stumped.
Why?
I never forget a voice once I heard it. And I heard yours once before.
You could be mistaken.
And I never forget a face, neither. And now that my eyes are accustomed to the dark, I know yours.
Who do you think I am?
That's just the trouble. You can't be that person.
Why not?
Because right now that person's down on a farm in Arkansas.
What's that person's name?
That person's name is Jupiter Dunlap.
Jupiter Dunlap? I ain't Jupiter Dunlap.
Then if you ain't Jupiter, you gotta be the twin. Jake. Jake Dunlap. That's who you are.
Shh, don't talk so loud. And don't mention that name. You want to get me killed?
Then you aren't dead.
No, I ain't dead. Not yet. Oh, I'm coming powerful close. You gotta help me out.
Why?
'Cause I'm in trouble.
I know that. But why should I help you? Your brother Brace lording it all over everybody.
Oh, that's Brace. That ain't me. I never done you no harm, nor your Uncle Silas neither. And I'll never do you none so long as God's in heaven. Now, give me a hand and save my life.
Why did those two want to kill you?
Well, you see, it was a confidence game. The three of us played it on a jewelry shop in St. Louis.
Jewel thieves?
Now, wait, now listen to what we done. We dressed up fine, and we ordered the diamonds sent around to the hotel for us to see if we wanted to buy.
And while you were examining them, you had paste counterfeits all ready, and it was the counterfeits that went back to the shop when you said the diamonds weren't quite fine enough.
Say, are you in the trade?
What were they worth?
$12,000.
And you got away with them?
Clean. Only trouble was, you see, we each had the same notion.
What notion?
To rob the others.
What? If that isn't the orniest, most low-down...
Well, maybe yes, maybe no. But the long and the short of it is that I was able to sneak off with the diamonds, and they've been hot on my trail.
And now that trail comes to an end.
No, it ain't. Now, you swore you'd help me get away.
I swore no such thing.
Oh, you gotta help me. Can't leave them two cutthroats to kill me.
Oh, that's no way to talk about your pal.
I'll do anything you say.
Give back them diamonds.
Give back the diamonds?
Yes, to the jewelry store.
I can't return the diamonds.
Why not?
Because I ain't got them. I lost them.
You expect me to believe that?
You gotta believe it. I lost them.
Oh, sure.
It's true. Look, if I still had them diamonds, would I be running for my life like this? Oh, look, if you don't believe I'm telling the truth, search me. Go ahead. Go through all my clothes. Look at my bag.
Oh, all right. How can I help you?
All right, now go ashore. Get me some other clothes.
Okay. I'll get you one of those new stovepipe hats and a pair of plaid breeches, maybe green and black.
That'll do it.
A cotton velvet waistcoat, some goggles, some whiskers and goggles.
Now, that should get me off the boat.
Well, let's say it does. Where do you go then? Where could you hide?
I'll go home. They all think I'm dead. My brother Brace will take me in. I'll be all disguised. No one will recognize me.
Yeah, but there's one little thing.
What's that?
Won't people notice that you sound like Jupiter and want to make them think that the other twin that's supposed to be dead, but maybe he's not?
Now, you are a sharp one. Yeah, me and Jupiter, we do have the exact same identical voices. I'll have to play deaf and dumb. That'll do it.
Okay, you be calm. You stay hidden here, and I'll go for those clothes.
Calm? I can never be calm again as long as I live. That's what a life of crime will do. Take my advice, son. Never get mixed up in it.
But I was mixed up in it, somehow. The steamboat was tied up at the dock for repairs, so I had plenty of time to go into the town and buy the clothes Jake Dunlap needed. The goggles and the whiskers weren't easily come by, but finally I had everything, and I headed back for the boat. I took my bundle and went down to my cabin.
Hey, these clothes will do me fine.
And see how they fit.
Yeah.
Why, you look just like a lecture on spiritualism.
I've done some of that in my time. I could even hold a seance when
Now, wait a minute. You're supposed to be deaf and dumb. You remember?
Oh, yeah. So I am.
And I even got you these boots here.
Oh, no, thanks. I'm going to keep these shoes.
Oh, but everyone wears boots where you going.
I got very tender feet, and the shoes I got suit me fine. Well, time I was leaving the boat. Where are my old pals?
Standing at the rail.
Would anyone recognize me?
They might recognize your shoes.
Oh, no danger of that. Everybody wears shoes like these in St. Louis. Son, you've been an angel of mercy to a poor old sinner like me. I'll see you in Arkansas. Oh, I won't let on. And I won't say a word. Seeing as how I'm supposed to be deaf and dumb.
Well, you just remember who helped you. Uncle Silas's nephew.
I never forget a friend.
And you might let your brother, Brace Dunlap, know. And are you sure you won't take these boots?
No, thanks.
Well, then I guess this is goodbye. I'll walk out on deck with you. That is, well, if you're ready to go.
Ready now as I'll ever be.
And he was. Them outlandish clothes seemed to put a whole new spirit into him. He walked out on the deck with a strong, purposeful stride, like a man who had a mission to perform. He made his way toward the gangplank, where the two men were standing and looking everyone over. He nodded at them, and they stopped and stared at him. Oh, I had an anxious couple of seconds. But they didn't tumble, and in a minute, he was off the boat and lost in the crowd on the dock. I must say, he pulled it off in style. I stood there and watched, and I held the boots in my hand. The boots he'd refused to take because he insisted he didn't need them. I wish I'd known then what I learned later, that the boots would be the means of helping to save my Uncle Silas's life.
Tom Sawyer, detective. And you must admit that Tom attracts danger and adventure just by breathing, just by walking into a room. I mean, most people go on an ordinary steamboat ride and all they get to see is the scenery. How many folks do you know who go on a boat ride and find themselves smack in the middle of a jewel robbery? And just think, we haven't even arrived at Uncle Silas's yet. Well, we complete that part of this adventurous journey when I return in just a few moments with Act 2.
Hi, this is Tony Orlando.
And Dawn, Thelma, and Joyce.
Talking to the...
Tony Orlando and Dawn are talking to people who have found bright new careers by going to technical school. Tony?
I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman by the name of Mark Beveridge. Mark, what were your plans when you left high school?
I didn't have any plans.
Mark had no skills and did dead-end laboring work until he spent 2 years in a technical school.
And what do you do now?
I work in a research lab building lasers.
If you don't like the work you do, learn to do the work you like. Get a free Tony Orlando record. You can be more than you are. And the facts on how you can learn to do the work you like at technical school. Write Careers, Box 111, Washington, D.C., 20044.
Technical school seems like a good idea for a young man, Mark.
Yes, it sure was for me.
This was a public service announcement of this station, the U.S. Office of Education, and the Advertising Council.
Dreams. We all seek to understand the many ways in which God reveals His Word. Throughout time, God has spoken to man in dreams. Jehovah said in the Old Testament, "Listen to my words. If a man be a prophet, I make myself known to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams." So pay attention to your own dreams. They might well reveal flashes of the future, predictions and warnings of things to come. They may give you a glimpse of God's guidance to lead you back to the peace and security of His way. For your free booklet on dreams, write to the Foundation Church, 1147 First Avenue, New York, New York, 10021. That's the Foundation Church, 1147 First Avenue, New York, New York, 10021.
The 76 Datsun Little Hustler pickup trucks are here. The new Little Hustler with standard 6-foot bed and new Little Hustler Stretch with its foot-longer 7-foot bed. See them both at your Datsun dealer now. Datsun is still America's #1 selling small pickup. It has been for years. And when you see the new models, you'll know why. Datsun's Little Hustler is rugged yet good-looking with a brawny 2,000cc overhead cam engine that gets tough jobs done. Datsun's other tough-to-beat features include an all-steel cargo bed, power assist brakes, white sidewall tires, and heavy-duty rear suspension. Inside the cab, you ride in super comfort. The contoured bench seat has deep foam padding, sturdy springs, soft vinyl upholstery. There's flow-through fresh air, too, and a 2-speed heater defroster. And lots more no-cost extras. Datsun Little Hustler, a great little truck for work or play. Datsun, America's #1 selling small pickup. Come into your Datsun dealer for a test drive. See for yourself how Datsun saves.
Tom Sawyer is bound for his Uncle Silas's farm in Arkansas to help Silas and his family through some rough sledding. The problem seems to be a wealthy farmer named Brace Dunlap who wants to marry Tom's pretty young cousin Benita. But these things take two, and Benita isn't having any. As you've already heard, by a coincidence, Tom has helped save the life of Brace Dunlap's brother Jake. Will this change Brace's attitude? You know perfectly well it won't. Brace wants Benita, and Brace is a man who gets what he wants.
I believe I already told you Jake Dunlap got off the boat safe enough and gave his pals the slip. We were supposed to sail within the hour, but just as we were building up steam, we blew a bolt head or a cylinder head. I never did get it straight. And we were stuck there 3 more days till they fixed it. So it was well over a week later when I arrived. Benita was waiting for me at the dock. I'd forgotten how pretty she was. But she looked so worried.
I'm so sorry, Tom. Forgive me.
For what, Benny?
Well, it's 3 miles. We have to walk it. I couldn't even come for you in the horse and wagon.
Oh, I don't mind.
And poor Caesar, he went lame. We can't afford a new horse. If these was other times, a neighbor'd be glad to lend us one, but these are new times, Tom. Bad times.
Brace Dunlap?
Brace Dunlap. Papa tries to be nice to him, but it doesn't work.
Never made Uncle Silas think he could mollify Brace by giving work to that no-account Jupiter.
You know Papa. He thinks that by doing a kind deed, you appeal to a person's better nature. And the trouble is, Brace Dunlap just don't have a better nature. I know that's a hard thing to say, especially for a preacher's daughter.
But it's the truth.
I was willing to give up. I said I'd marry Brace. But Papa said he wouldn't hear of it. And he's turned Papa into a nervous, angry, hateful person. Tom, what am I going to do? I want to save Papa.
Oh, we'll think of something. We kept walking along till I seen a paper posted on a tree by the side of the road. First I thought it was a poster for a runaway slave. But then, when I stopped to look, I saw it was something else entirely. $2,000 reward for the information leading to the arrest and conviction of 3 men who stole 2 rare gems from a St. Louis jewelry store, or for the recovery of the jewels.
Oh, I wish I could find those gems, Tom. $2,000.
It's a lot of money.
Oh, that could make Papa independent. He wouldn't have to fear any man.
Sometime, Benny, when all this is over, I'm going to tell you a story about those gems.
Why, Tom, what do you know about stolen jewels?
You stupid. Oh, wait a minute. You hear a voice?
Oh, good for nothing. Yes. No, it's Papa. You see, off in the field there, he's yelling at Jupiter again.
Say, it looks like he's fixing to do more than just yell. He's picked up a stick.
We have to stop him. Papa, no!
Don't hit me! You ought to be lucky I don't...
Papa, no, Papa,
you
please!
Stay out of this, Benny.
Papa, I won't. Papa, look, here's Tom Sawyer. He's come to visit.
Hello, Uncle Silas.
Tom Sawyer? Who's Tom Sawyer?
Oh, Papa, you know Tom.
Don't you remember me, Uncle Silas?
Tom. Oh, yes, Tom. Lord bless you, Tom. I ain't very well these days, and I think my memory is gone. Tom, I was a-praying to the good Lord for true help in my hour of need, and he sent you.
Are you all right now, Papa?
I know the Lord is displeased with me, children.
Displeased with you, Uncle Silas?
Oh, Papa, not with you.
Yes, he's trying me the way he tried Job. Jupiter is my affliction, and I cannot abide him. I look at him, he stands there shaking, nervous, his hands keep running across his face, and he talks like a fool, and he behaves even worse. And the terrible thing is, I want to kill him.
Papa.
Now, Uncle Silas, you can't mean that.
Yes, I actually and truly wish to take the life of a fellow human being, me, who always considered himself a man of God. I'm being punished for my evil thoughts, children. Punished.
Oh, now, come home, Papa. You'll feel better for a nice hot supper.
No, child. I'll never feel better again.
But he did. It takes a real strong bad mood to withstand homemade hot biscuits and fried chicken and pie. I swear, even if Benny didn't have the looks, men would still want to marry her for her cooking. Well, Uncle Silas's spirits were raised up again when suddenly there was a knock on the door. And it was Brace Dunlap. Right off, I could see the resemblance to Jake and Jupiter. But he was younger, better looking. And he had something neither of them had. A cruel, mean look around the mouth. But he did talk nice and pleasant.
Good evening. I'm sorry to interrupt you folks.
Good evening. Will you join us at supper?
I wish I could, Miss Benita, but I'm worried about my brother.
Are you?
I expected him home over 2 hours ago. Would you know perhaps what might have kept him, Reverend?
How would I know? Am I your brother's keeper?
Papa.
Sorry I disturbed you. It's getting dark now. I better go out and look for him. Jupiter! 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 Can you hear me? Now, where can that fool be?
Brace! Brace!
Where are you?
Behind the trees.
Well, come on out. What are you doing there?
Brace, come here. Come here. I got something to show you.
Now, Jupiter, it's late and I ain't had my supper.
Jake is here, Brace. Brother Jake himself.
What? Well, what are you talking about?
Come here. Now, look.
It's... Oh, Jake, he's dead.
Yeah.
Jupiter, what happened here?
Well, I was coming toward home, Brace, and I seen this fellow with a beard and goggles.
Yeah?
And this outlandish hat and these funny clothes. And he was running and running, and there was these two fellas chasing after him.
Which two fellas?
I never seen him before, but one was kind of tall. And finally, they caught up with him, and there was all kinds of yelling and fighting, and they killed him.
What did you do?
Well, they was most awful mean-looking fellas, Brace, so I hid behind a tree. Well, I was scared they'd kill me, too. Well, after they killed him, they searched through all his clothes, and then they ran away. And then I seen it was Jake.
Jake?
Yeah, and all this time we thought poor Jake was dead.
Yeah, and so is everybody else.
Well, hadn't we better tell the sheriff, Brace?
Let me study this.
Jake's been killed. Shouldn't them that murdered him be punished?
You're dead right. Just let me keep thinking.
Well, what's to think about?
Well, poor Jake's death should be a lesson to all who presume to violate the law. He lived by the sword, and he died by the sword, so to speak.
Yeah. I don't follow this.
Put on the whiskers and the goggles.
What? Why?
Just do as I say. Now,
all right.
Now, there. Now, no one would ever dream you was Jupiter Dunlap. You just take off your clothes and put them on poor old Jake. And you put on Jake's clothes.
Why?
And we'll bury Jake.
Bury him?
Nobody knows about Jake except you and me. Yeah. And them there two fellas, and, well, they're long gone. They ain't gonna say nothing.
But we just can't go. I mean, we have to tell the sheriff.
We will, in good time. Meanwhile, you, poor old Jupiter Dunlap, you will have disappeared.
Me? But why?
Because we're going to let on that it was you that was murdered.
Me? Murdered? Why? By who?
By who? By Uncle Silas. Why? Because he hates you.
Well, he don't really hate me. He just...
I'm doing the thinking, Jupiter. And at the right time, the body will be discovered. And everyone will think it's you. And we'll even have witnesses to say Uncle Silas killed you.
What happens to me?
Well, you're some poor stranger who's wandered around these parts, and you can stay with me because I'm such a charitable person.
Oh. Hey, won't everyone know who I am?
You're wearing a disguise, remember?
Oh, okay. Hey, but...
But what?
But everyone knows my voice.
You ain't altogether a dummy. Wait, that's it? The answer. That's what you are, a dummy. You're deaf and dumb. That's perfect. Now, remember, you mustn't say a single solitary word, ever.
Judge Farnsworth?
Morning, Benny.
Well, come on in. Sit a spell?
Oh, thank you.
This here's my cousin Tom Sawyer from Missouri.
How'd you do, son? It's a fine state, Missouri.
Thanks, sir.
Is your pa about, Benny?
Oh, he's off somewheres, Judge. You want I should find him?
Well, no, I might just as well talk to you. Benny, have you seen Jupiter Dunlap?
No, Judge.
He's been missing almost a week now.
Well, he ain't shown up here.
There's talk going the rounds about the village.
What kind of talk?
Talk that your pa murdered Jupiter Dunlap.
Oh, but that ain't true.
How do we know Jupiter's been murdered, Judge? You don't have corpus delicti.
I see you know your law, son, but still, the talk is getting powerfully strong.
It's that Brace Dunlap. He'll do anything to hurt Papa.
But the fact is, Jupiter has disappeared.
Oh, Judge, what are we going to do?
I thought you might help.
Me? Well, what can I...
How do you believe your pa is... Well, could he actually have killed Jupiter?
Judge.
Did he ever threaten to kill Jupiter Dunlap?
No. Well...
Yes?
Well, you see, Jupiter drove Papa out of his wits.
All right, that's what I want to hear.
Why?
I'm a friend of your pa's. And if matters should ever arrive there, and I'm not saying they will, that should be the defense his lawyer should plead.
His lawyer? Well, but Judge...
And don't you ever breathe a word that I've been here and talked about it. You understand? Now, good day to you both.
Oh, Tom.
I can't believe it. Would Brace Dunlap murder his own brother just so he could lay the blame on Uncle Silas?
He'd do anything. He's a devil. He's fixing to have Papa hang.
Oh, now, wait, Benny.
He'd stop at nothing.
Maybe Jupiter just ran off and...
Tom, you can't let him hang Papa. You can't. Oh, promise me you'll save him.
Well, now, sure, Benny. I promise.
Well, all of you who've read the Mark Twain story, and even those of you who haven't, know that the worst is about to happen. And how does Tom propose to handle it? Well, would Mark Twain fail to give one of his favorite characters an inspiration in time of need? You know he wouldn't. So you be here when Act 3 arrives in just a few moments.
In case you've forgotten how much fun driving can be, Buick would like to introduce you to Skylark, a small car that's all Buick, with room, comfort, and an engine that no other compact car in America offers, the incredible Buick V6. Skylark, it's free spirit made practical.
That's how it's gonna be, your spirit's free.
Share a ride with a friend. Share a smile when you're round the bend. Let somebody brighten up your day.
Fred and I started riding together to save money, but that's not why we're still doing it. Nope, we just like sharing the ride and the time with a friend.
Double up every morning. Double up going home at night. Double up every day. It's a better way. You're gonna have more fun together.
Beats driving alone.
A public service of this station, U.S. Department of Transportation, and the Advertising Council.
These radio mysteries are great for keeping you guessing, but there's no mystery about going to Northwest Federal Savings to get the highest interest rates possible. And you know you'll get the best help possible from neighborhood people who work there. For 50 years, Northwest Federal Savings has been helping people save for a new home, retirement, or for peace of mind. And today there's a variety of savings plans, from the regular 5 3/4% passbook savings account to the full 7 3/4% savings certificate. Of course, there's a substantial penalty for early withdrawal from savings certificates. Saving at Northwest Federal Savings is a great way to invest in your future without guesswork. So visit Northwest Federal Savings anytime. Irving Park west of Cicero, in Des Plaines, Norridge, and now Arlington Heights at Algonquin and Gulf Roads. Remember, they're open 63 hours a week.
It's Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
This is WBBM Chicago.
Well, here we are in a backwoods Arkansas town sometime around 1840 or so. And Uncle Silas is being drawn further and further into a lethal web by clever and vindictive Brace Dunlap. All Uncle Silas has on his side is Tom Sawyer. But right now, Tom doesn't have any idea of how to help.
Things were getting no better. Somebody was spreading rumors about how Uncle Silas must have murdered Jupiter Dunlap. Well, not Brace. Oh, no, Brace never said one word. But he must have took care that others did. And there was a lot of hot feeling in the town against poor Uncle Silas. Nobody at all ever came to hear him preach on Sunday anymore. And then...
Afternoon, Miss Benny. Would your father be at home?
Yes? Who's that with you?
Oh, this fella, you mean? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know his name exactly. He's a deaf mute. Can't speak nor hear. Poor soul. Came wandering through town, all ragged and hungry. So I've been giving him a place to sleep and his meals.
By George, the fellow was wearing the very get-up I'd bought for Jake Dunlap. The stovepipe hat, the plaid pants, the waistcoat, the goggles, the whiskers. That's who it was. Jake Dunlap.
Silas, I come here on a most important matter.
You have?
You know, Silas, that I've got money and property, and I mean to do very good by Benita.
Not another word.
Well, what have you got against me?
You're a mean, cruel, evil-minded man.
But nobody else thinks so.
I don't care what other folk think. I know better.
Look at me. How charitable I am. I've taken this poor, afflicted soul into my own home.
Brace Dunlap, leave my house.
Shouldn't we ask Benny what she thinks?
Benny's just a child.
Papa, maybe, I've been considering.
There. You hear?
Never, child, never. You ain't gonna throw your life away on a corrupt, vicious person like Brace Dunlap 'cause you're feeling sorry for me. I won't allow it. Now you, Brace Dunlap, get before I take down my flintlock.
Now, Uncle Silas, there's no need to get excited here.
You hear me, Brace Dunlap? Get and do your worst.
Brace, how long do I have to wear these clothes and let on to be deaf and dumb?
Quite a while, Jupiter, for quite a while.
Ain't no fun keeping my mouth shut.
If that stupid old Silas had seen reason, you could have just reappeared and said you'd simply run off for a bit. But this way, I'm afraid you'll have to be dead. Forever.
Forever?
I think it's high time the body was found. The body of Jupiter Dunlap. Murdered in cold blood by old Uncle Silas.
But what's going to become of me?
You just play deaf and dumb for a while, and sooner or later, I'll think of something.
Tom, I'm scared. Folks are talking against Papa something fierce.
Oh, but now there's no proof.
Oh, that don't matter to them. They think Papa killed Jupiter just 'cause they want to.
But everybody can see it's Brace behind it all.
Oh, folks see what they want to see. And they see how nice and kind Brace Dunlap is to this poor afflicted dummy. And they keep saying what a kind, generous man Brace Dunlap is. Ain't it a pity about his poor brother?
I don't know what they can do.
Oh, folks can get ugly sometimes, Tom. Listen.
Who's there?
Huh? Look out the window, Tom. Oh, look. It's a whole gang of men with dogs, and they're headed this way.
Where's your Uncle Silas?
Asleep.
You go stay with him.
No, Tom.
You do as I tell you now. Stay with Uncle Silas. What happens in a thing like this is that one man with a gun can change a lot of people's minds. Lots of folks just get swept away by excitement of being part of a mob. But they calm down quick enough if they see a gun on the other side. I took Uncle Silas's old musket off the wall and stood outside the door and waited. There was maybe 15 or 20 men, and they were led by Brace Dunlap.
Evening.
Evening. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Is your Uncle Silas at home?
And what if he is?
I'm sure he'd like to join us.
Doing what?
Well, to help clear up some rumors.
What sort of rumors?
Oh, about my brother Jupiter being dead.
How?
Well, if Jupiter's dead, there's got to be a body, don't there?
That would seem to make sense.
So, all the neighbors volunteered to pitch in with their hounds to search. We'll settle this thing once and for all. If we don't find the body, it'll mean poor old Jupiter just run off somewhere.
I see.
We figured Silas, as a neighbor, would like to lend a hand.
Well, Uncle Silas ain't feeling too good. Mind if I take his place?
Oh, not at all.
That should have warned me something was off. But what could I have done about it? I could see Brace drawing the noose tighter and tighter. Somehow I knew they would manage to find the body. But one thing I couldn't understand. Would Brace go so far as to murder Jupiter just to have revenge on Silas?
Here, it's here. This heap of fresh-looking dirt. I turned it over, and all my land. Look, it's Jupiter.
Yes, it's my brother Jupiter. Those are his clothes. You can see it's Jupiter.
It's true. Silas must have killed him.
And now you see here, mister.
I was walking through the woods. It was maybe a week ago. I seen Silas and Jupiter. Silas was a-hollering at him. Silas was saying, "I'll kill you." And I seen him pick up a stick, a heavy stick.
Hold on! Now, nobody's got a right to take the law in his own hands. We're all civilized people. Now, let's show this gentleman visiting from St. Louis how fair-minded we are.
Right.
Let's see that Uncle Silas gets a trial.
Yeah, he's right.
Tom?
Benny, in a couple of minutes, the sheriff will be here.
The sheriff? Why?
They found Jupiter Dunlap's body.
Oh, no.
They're convinced Uncle Silas did it.
Did what, Tom? What?
Papa, they found Jupiter's body.
Oh, did they?
Papa, somebody killed him.
I know. I killed him.
Oh, no, Papa.
I did it. I hit him a good lick and I killed him.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Now, hold on, Uncle Silas. Somebody buried him. Who?
Me. I killed him, then I shoveled him under.
Uncle Silas, you did no such thing.
I did. And I'll swear to it on the Bible in a court of law.
The judge wanted to appoint a counsel for Uncle Silas. But Benny insisted I should be it, which according to the law was legal. And I tell you, there was nothing I could do. I was stumped. I couldn't trap that witness.
I was walking in the woods that evening and I seen Uncle Silas.
But now, if it was the evening, how could you see?
It was the early evening, about 4 o'clock.
Wouldn't that be the afternoon?
In these parts, we call that the evening.
I was getting nowhere. I couldn't shake his story. He had seen Uncle Silas beat Jupiter. He had heard Uncle Silas threaten to kill him. You could hear folks muttering against poor Uncle Silas. But the worst part of it came when...
Tom Sawyer, as counsel for the defendant, is there any evidence you wish to present?
Well, now, Your Honor...
No, don't listen to no one else. I confess, I killed him.
Order before I clear the court.
I killed him. I'm guilty. I never wanted to harm a living creature. But suddenly, all the wrongs his brother Brace done me come to my mind. All the insults that man, that scoundrel there, his brother, had put upon me. How they plotted to ruin my poor family.
Now. No, now I got it. Sit down, Uncle Silas. Sit down. A murder was done, but you never had a hand in it. Your Honor, may I speak?
Please.
For 2 weeks or so now, there's been a handbill offering $2,000 reward for diamonds stolen in St. Louis.
What does this have to do with the murder?
Everything. The night of the killing, the man who stole them diamonds was just running through the woods, chased by 2 others.
Who were they?
His pals, whom he had betrayed. Well, they caught up with him and killed him.
But you still haven't explained why...
They left his body in the woods and ran off. Sometime later, 2 other men came across that body. And do you know what they did? One of them changed clothes with the corpse. From stovepipe hat all the way down to shoes.
How can you make that statement, Tom?
I'll go further. That man that put on the dead man's clothes and disguised himself as the dead man was Jupiter Dunlap himself.
But Jupiter Dunlap's dead.
No. The man that's dead is Jake Dunlap, the long-lost twin brother. And who do you think is the man that buried him? Brace Dunlap.
Your Honor, that's a lie. Am I to be slandered?
Wait, I can prove it. I can prove it. And who do you think is this idiot with the goggles and the whiskers, letting on to be deaf and dumb? It's Jupiter Dunlap himself. Will you take off them whiskers, Jupiter? Or should the sheriff do it?
My boy, this is remarkable. This deduction on your part. You haven't seen any of these events, and yet you describe them so perfectly. Case dismissed.
A moment, Your Honor. One moment. One moment, Your Honor. There's a thief in the house.
A thief?
Yes, sir. And he's got $12,000 worth of stolen diamonds.
Point him out.
It's the late dead man here, Jupiter Dunlap.
That's a lie. I never did steal any diamonds.
He did steal the diamonds, but he didn't know it. You see, when he changed clothes with Jake, the diamonds went along.
But didn't those men who killed him take the diamonds?
I offered on the steamboat to buy Jake Dunlap a pair of new boots. But he insisted on wearing his old shoes. Why? And suddenly it came to me. He must have hidden the diamonds in them. Where? In the heel. Where else? I borrowed a screwdriver and unscrewed Jupiter's heel. And sure enough, there was those 2 big diamonds. And they took everyone's breath away. Poor Jupiter. He was sick. Had he only known, he could have gone away and been rich.
I shall keep these and notify the owners. And it will be a real pleasure to turn over the reward money to you, Tom Sawyer. You have earned the deepest and most sincere thanks of this community for lifting a wronged and innocent family out of ruin and saving an honorable man from a felon's death.
Oh, thank you, Judge. But anyone could have done it.
Well, wouldn't you know that Tom turned over the reward money to Uncle Silas and Benita? And he helped nurse Uncle Silas back to health. And the whole town would gather every Sunday to hear Uncle Silas preach. And the entire family was happy as birds. Who says Mark Twain didn't write happy endings? We'll have more to say in just a few moments.
Did you know there are more than 200 different careers to choose from in the health field? Not just for people who study lots of science and want to become doctors and nurses, but for people with backgrounds, interests, and talents exactly like yours. Do you like to sketch and paint pictures? You could choose a career in the health field as a medical illustrator. Or maybe you like crafts and enjoy doing things with your hands. In this case, you might choose a career as a therapist. Whatever your interest or talent, there's a health career that'll let you put it to good use. Get the facts in our free booklet. It's called 200 Ways to Put Your Talent to Work in the Health Field. And it's free. For your copy, write to National Health Council, Box 40, Radio City Station, New York, New York, 10019. That address again is National Health Council, Box 40, Radio City Station, New York, New York, 10019. A public service of this station and the Advertising Council.
We still have Brace Dunlaps, and we will also have our Uncle Silas's. The question is, will we always have enough Tom Sawyers to right the balance? Tom Sawyer was a hero. Perhaps the word hero is somewhat out of fashion these days, and perhaps we're too sophisticated for genuine heroes. But who do we have to replace them? Our cast included Christopher Tabori, Paul Hecht, Evie Juster, Bob Caliban, and Gilbert Mack. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
No, these paintings are not mine.
Who's to know the difference?
They're the work of Francois Millet.
Must we discuss that tiresome Millet?
No, you see how each painting bears his hallmark, his unique style?
Monsieur, these things are lost on me. I know nothing of art.
Oh, isn't there anything you could do to help Millet?
Oh, sit beside me, and we can talk more comfortably.
Yes. No, surely there's something you could do for him.
Why?
Well, because one day he would be a glory to France.
Oh, monsieur, you're an Englishman.
Yes.
Why should you worry about the glory of France?
Well, the glory of the world.
Oh, well, I see we must decently dispose of Millet. There's only one way I could hope to help him.
Oh, how?
He would have to be dead.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
CBS News follows.
First in news, we're CBS News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
The time is 10:30. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater in just 1 minute.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Samuel Clemens, better known by his pen name, Mark Twain, had a long love affair with the Mississippi River. Glowing with sparkling remembrance, he has claimed, considering the Missouri, its main branch, it is the longest river in the world, 4,300 miles. The Mississippi is remarkable in another way. It is always moving its habitat bodily, always moving sideways. Remember that, and listen.
That is the reason for the ring on the finger.
The ring?
So that if one should wake and twitch, the dead bell would ring.
What a fearful bell.
If you were a corpse and woke back to life in the dead house, you might not hear it that way.
mystery drama, The Dead House, was adapted especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Leon Janney and Robert Dryden. It is sponsored in part by True Value Hardware Stores and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Take your Contact, take it now. Give your cold to Contact.
Before you choose a cold medicine, you should know that no cold tablet, no cold liquid has found the way to give you Contact's continuous relief. One Contact works up to 12 hours. Helps relieve all your congestive symptoms. All day, all night. That's the wonder of Contact.
Give your cold to Contact.
Take only as directed.
In 1921, Dr. Banning and Dr. Best discovered that insulin prolongs life for diabetics. Their discovery has enabled countless millions of diabetics to lead almost normal, productive lives. But unfortunately, insulin does not cure diabetes. It's time to cure diabetes, and it's time we all help. If you can give help or need help, call your local American Diabetes Association. I'm Gerald Ford. I thank you.
Madigan's for men. Madigan's Juniors. Distinctive looks for women. For men. Whatever your fashion feeling. For moderns who express themselves through today's sophisticated but casual attitude. For those who believe in fine classics, value, and quality. For anyone who wants to make a personal statement with style and taste. Come to the fresh, appealing atmosphere at Madigan's to find your fashion personality. Be distinctive, like Madigan's. Madigan's for men. Madigan's Juniors.
American history, possibly nothing has been more romantic than the sailing of a Mississippi River boat. From an hour before sailing, they would be burning pitch and rosin, and from the double smokestacks, columns of coal-black smoke would rise and hang in the air like the flags flying from the jackstaffs. The last bells would clang out over the end of feverish loading. The gangways were snatched away. The majestic boat moves out into the stream. This is the world Mark Twain wrote about 21 years after being a riverboat pilot. And this is one of the stories he tells of that voyage.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you, Captain.
I have just turned over the boat to the pilot. I'm surprised you didn't make straight for the pilot house the moment you came aboard.
Why, I considered it closed to ordinary passengers.
Well, indeed it is. But you're not going to try to hoodwink me and tell me that you are any ordinary passenger.
Well, just a poor scribbler and indifferent journalist who hopes to make a chronicle of the voyage, which perhaps might make a book.
Oh, you think our voyage might provide you with enough incident for that?
It is my hope.
Why don't you go on up to the pilot house where you can swap told stories with a master?
I'm hoping to run this trip incognito.
Sam, it's up to you. If you want my pledge, no one should know you're aboard, you have it.
I thank you for that.
How far will you be going with us? All the way to New Orleans?
Well, I'd like to, for old time's sake, but no, not near as far.
Just tell me your port of call and we'll set you down easy.
I'll let you know in time to bring her to shore. So, once again, I was aboard a paddle steamer going down the Mississippi. But since I wanted to observe and report, I needed to remain objective. And then there was my special errand. I suppose I might as well drift into that history now. Toward the end of the previous year, I had been in Germany, in Munich, spending some time there with the hope of polishing my proficiency in the language. I am an incurable rambler, and during one of my wanderings, I visited the Dead House, an establishment where the government keeps and watches corpses until they decide that they are permanently dead and not in a trance. It was a grisly place that I shared with 36 corpses and the old lady who watched over them.
Kann ich hier helfen, mein Herr?
Entschuldige mir. Ich kann einzig klein Deutsch sprechen. Ich bin Amerikanischer.
So, we can speak English if you will.
Oh, thank you. To whom do I speak?
I am the Frau Dahlweiner, now a widow. What brings you to the Schermutig place?
Schermutig? That means in English what? Sad? Melancholy?
Yeah, melancholy. Here are the poor on these boards. No one mourns or cares for them.
Well, they're wrapped in shrouds, so they must be dead.
Perhaps. Who is dead and who is alive? These are the doctor's choices. And the doctor is only a man. That is the reason for the ring on the finger.
The ring?
To which the wire is attached, which mounts to the ceiling, and so back into the watchroom, where it is attached to the dead bell.
A bell?
So that if one should revive and twitch or move, the dead bell will ring, and we shall know that they are not dead.
Oh, how strange. What a fearful bell.
Oh, if you were a corpse and woke back to life in the dead house, you might not hear it that way.
It's fascinating. May I ask more questions? Your English is very good.
Oh, my lodger has taught it to me. He is an American.
Here in Munich?
Yes. If you are staying here, would you not like to come and see him? He is very ill. Perhaps you can raise his spirits. He knows far more of this fearful place than I do. This watchman's job was his before he took sick.
Well, I don't know. I shall be leaving Munich shortly.
Oh, such a short walk. And it would mean so much to him. Surely a man needs some warmth from some fire if he is about to die.
I had simply thought, of course, that I was making a good Samaritan's trip. And from my first meeting, nothing should have changed that thought. He was a living man, but he did not look it. Propped on the pillows, his face was wasted. His hand on his breast, so emaciated, it was like a talon. As Frau Dahlweiner began her introduction, his eyes opened slowly and glittered wickedly from the twilight of their caverns.
Herr Ritter, here is Herr Clemens come to meet you. Now, Herr Ritter, that is no way to treat a stranger in our country, an American besides.
American, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
What brings you to see me?
The gentleman came to see you at my request. I thought to talk to an American again would lift your spirits.
There's little can do that. An American? From where in America?
Well, I was brought up in Hannibal, Missouri.
Missouri? State next to Arkansas. You wouldn't know Mariana, no?
I do, for a fact.
Then that would make us neighbors?
Oh, I think I should leave you two gentlemen alone. I'll make some coffee while you get acquainted.
Oh, danke.
Never mind the coffee. Would you say we were neighbors?
Well, not quite. Hannibal is north of St. Louis. Mariana a piece far south. Maybe 450 miles as the crow flies from Hannibal to Mariana. Pretty near twice that far by the river.
The Mississippi.
The Mississippi.
You know that river?
Yes, I know it. Once upon a time, like the palm of my hand, and better.
How come?
Up to 21 years ago, I was a riverboat pilot. But I left the river.
You don't make your home there anymore?
No. My home now is in Hartford, Connecticut.
So, you don't ever expect to go back west, eh?
Oh, sure I do. When I return to the States, the first thing I plan to do is to go back and take a journey down the Mississippi. See if I even recognize her anymore.
What do you mean?
Mr. Ritter, there never was a woman as fickle, as flighty as the Mississippi. Why, that river can make prodigious jumps almost by night. And by cutting through narrow necks of land, straighten and shorten itself and change the shape of the country. A man could go to sleep one night in the state of Mississippi and wake up to find himself in Louisiana the next morning.
I know.
Well, you worked on the river?
No, but I sure made use of it.
Oh, how's that?
Oh, when I was young, I was a heller, a fighting, drinking, gambling man, and then when I had a little money and arranged to settle down at last, I bought me some land in Arkansas cheap and settled in to make a homestead. But I was too far from the river for it to pay, so I...
So, you made a cut.
I guess I can afford to admit it now. No human law is going to catch up with me anymore. It's, one dark night when the river was rising fast, I cut me a little gutter across a neck of land. I don't have to tell you what happened.
In no time at all, old lady Mississippi wrought a miracle. The whole river took possession of that little ditch and put your plantation flat on its bank, while the other party's property became an island that shoaled up so no boat could get within 10 miles of it.
And by as much as his property went down, mine went up.
If you'd been caught cutting that ditch, they'd have tarred and feathered you and strung you from a tree.
In a lot of ways, I might have been better off.
Well, why'd you do it? Was money all that important to you?
It was, and it wasn't.
Well, that's a little cryptic. I don't quite follow that.
I sold the land.
For a handsome profit.
$25,000.
That's a fortune.
I know. The trouble was that you and I are not alone in recognizing it.
What do you mean by that?
I never told this to another living soul. I never thought I would. But now I must, if you will help me. But for today, I'm too worried to tell you the story, and I still must think on whether I can trust the stranger. Could you come back tomorrow?
Well, I'm not sure.
You must. You have to hear my story. You cannot refuse the request of a dying man. You were a miracle sent by God, the only man who can bring me salvation, who can save my soul.
And with these words, according to Mark Twain's story, the dying man fell back on the bed, asleep, or in some sort of coma. In haste, Mark Twain fetched the widow and left the man in her care, troubled in his mind as to whether it would be in Ritter's best interest or his own to return. I shall be back with his decision shortly.
Hi, Pat Summerall. True Value Hardware stores know that a mechanic has different tool needs than a homeowner. He needs more tools because he has more ways to use them. But the homeowner and the mechanic both share the need for quality tools, like True Value Hardware Store's exclusive line of Master Mechanic hand tools. You can add versatility to your workshop with the Master Mechanic 17-piece socket set that includes 11 sockets, a socket extension, reversible ratchet, and more. Choose either the standard or metric set for just $19.97 each. True Value Hardware stores also offer the Master Mechanic 6-piece router bit set for just $18.97. These precision machine bits are designed for heavy-duty routing, slotting, and grooving. Get these and other quality Master Mechanic hand tools exclusively at participating True Value Hardware stores.
True Value Hardware is more than just a name. It's a way of doing business that feels True Value.
If the jolly old man in the red and white suit forgot to leave a fur coat with your loot, no need to cry, no need to pout. York Furrier has news to cheer about. Thousands of fur, from sable to mink, are now priced lower than you might think. For this is the season of their annual sale. So come to York Furrier this week without fail.
York Furrier of Elmhurst presents their annual January sale now in progress. You'll choose from one of the largest collections of fur in all America. From sporty fun furs to magnificent designer creations, including furs for men. Each is custom crafted in the famous York Furrier tradition of finest quality and lasting value. Priced now for exciting savings of 20%, 30%, even 50%. So come to the January sale at York Furrier, the finest furrier in the world. 107 North York Road in Elmhurst.
If no one has said it, someone should have. Words to this effect. Unless you are a priest or a doctor, avoid the confession of a dying man. He is only trying to transfer the cross from his shoulders to yours. In that early winter of 1883, Mark Twain, living in Munich, Germany, or as it was then, Bavaria, fell into this trap.
I could have taken to my heels and run. Then again, the incurable curiosity of the author beckoned me to stay. I could not resist. I had to hear the dying man's confession.
I have never given up before, but last night I did. I know I'm going to die. You say you are going to revisit your river. If you do, you will see Napoleon, Arkansas, and I ask you when you are there to do a certain thing for me.
I can make no promises.
I ask none. Only the dictates of your conscience. Now come back with me all those years towards the end of the war between the states. Here's what happened. And I guess the way you'd have to understand it best is to meet Nell.
How do you like it, Mrs. Ritter?
It's heaven. I just wanted to go on and never end.
That's the way I hope to make life for you, Nell.
How soon do we get to Napoleon, Carl?
How soon would you like to?
You know the answer to that. I want to be home.
I don't want you to get too grand expectations. It's just a place I built myself. But it's good enough for the two of us right now.
Oh, it won't be for long.
Now, Nell, I never promised you no mansion or... Hey, wait a minute. What do you mean it won't be for long?
Can't you guess?
You mean you're expecting...
Well, it'll take a doctor to know for sure, but I don't have any doubts.
Why, honey, we only got married a little over 2 months ago.
It don't take that long, Carl, when a woman's got herself a man like you and has a strong desire to make him a family.
Oh, Nell, I love you.
Like I love you.
Just give me the chance and I'll make a home big enough for you to be proud of. And big enough to bring up as many young'uns as you could want.
If the war don't interfere.
It won't. Not for me. I don't belong on either side. Don't you worry, Nell.
What's that?
That's saying to Napoleon, steamboat a-comin'. We'd best get ready to land.
Well, is it very far to Mariana from there?
Well, no. Just a piece south and inland.
It's not on the river?
You want to be on the river, honey, that's where you'll be. By the time you have your firstborn. I started digging my ditch within a month after we settled in. And the first thing in early spring, when the waters began to rise, I opened up the end of it to the river. So by the time my daughter was born, I was able to give her the best present in the world. I'm coming now. You all right? Where's the midwife?
Oh, well, she's gone.
And left you alone?
Oh, I'm fine. Don't you worry about me. Oh, darling, don't you want to see your daughter?
Oh, I sure do. Oh, so beautiful. And she's the spitting image of you.
Where were you? Why weren't you here when she was born?
I couldn't bear to see you hurting, Nell.
Oh, silly. That's a woman's lot. And Isn't it worth it to bring something like this into the world?
You know what we're going to call her?
No, what?
Missy.
Missy? Where did you get it from?
From the present I promised you with your firstborn. Right almost in your front yard. Here, let me help you sit up. Now, look.
What's happened down there at the end of the slope? The fields are all gone. And it looks like water.
That's not just any water, Nell girl. That's the Mississippi, flowing right through our front yard.
You promised me a river, and you brought it to me.
That's not the only thing, Nell. It's going to make us rich. And in the next 2 years, Mr. Clemens, it did make us rich. In money, but not all the way in happiness. It was a lonely place, and except for the river, isolated from people. It was a bad time. The war was over, and renegade soldiers dressed as tramps and such were plundering the land. Nell was scared of them. I should have listened to her sooner than I did, but I moved too late. I sold the property, and there was over $25,000 in cash gold the night they came. I woke from a deep sleep to find myself bound and gagged and the air tainted with chloroform. It was black as a witch's pocket. Somewhere far off, I heard the baby crying in my wife's voice.
Don't hurry, please. Oh, my baby. I've told you where the money is here.
So you have, lady. Now all that's left is to shut your mouth forever. Shut that kid up.
No, please. You said no violence.
Group C is moving out. The road of the river is alive with soldiers. We can't be caught. And if it won't shut its mouth, I will shut it for it.
No, don't touch my baby.
Let me go, woman. Now, shut that kid.
You killed my baby. You're something. I'll kill you for this.
I told you, woman. Get out here.
You said no violence. You said we'd only gag them, not hurt them. Or I would not have come.
Shut up. I had to change our plan when they waked up. You done all you could to protect them. Let that satisfy you.
You relieved the woman and the baby alone now?
Of course.
And what about him?
He might be playing possum. We should club him.
No more clubbing.
Suppose he could recognize us.
He can't. We put him to sleep with a chloroform. Besides, it is pitch black in here.
Okay, trooper, okay. We will take the chance. We have got the money, so strike it right so we can see to get out of here.
I had no way to stop them. I couldn't move. The gag was so stifling that when I tried to speak, I could make no sound. It was dawn before I managed to wriggle free. And staggering to the other side of the room, I found my wife and daughter. Alive? No, Mr. Clemens, dead. There they lay, the poor, unoffending ones, their troubles ended. When mine had just begun. Did you go to the law? No law of gallows could pay the debt that was owing me. Well, how could you expect to take matters into your own hands? If it was so dark, you couldn't identify a man. I had some clues, Mr. Clemens. I heard their voices. And when they lit the match to see their way out, the hand that held it was missing a thumb. And when I went to the place my money had been hidden among the papers tossed around was one containing a bloody thumbprint. Well, what use could the last piece of information be to you? The man without the thumb was the one who had begged his companion should not hurt us. If the print on the paper belonged to the other man, I could identify him definitely enough to kill him. A man's thumbprint is the one sure proof of his identity. Well, still and all, grant that to be true. How could you go about a search for these passing tramps? Remember my story. The one I knew I must kill someday had said, Troop C is moving out. We can't be caught. And also he called his companion Trooper. You think they were soldiers? A few miles away, 2 companies of U.S. cavalry were billeted. Company A was stationary, but Company C had been ordered 50 miles north to Napoleon.
And you followed them?
Yeah. With what money I had left, I made a disguise for myself out of odds and ends of clothing after I had buried my wife and daughter. By the time I reached Napoleon, I had a new trade. I had become a fortune teller.
Did you find your men?
It didn't take me long to find the one who lacked the thumb. His name was Kruger. He was a German, one of 9 in the company.
And the only one who had suffered such a wound?
The only one. Besides, I recognized that whining voice. But he was not my prey. It was the other.
So how did you locate the other?
As a fortune teller, I would pass each client a sheet of paper, daub his thumb with red paint, and take a print. It wasn't until the 43rd member of the troop visited me for a reading that I found my man.
How?
I pored over the print of the ball of his thumb with a magnifying glass one whole night. It matched the bloody print left on the paper rifled from secret cache exactly.
So you took the law into your own hands?
Not yet. I had to be totally sure. So I went to Kruger. He was the weak link. He was a superstitious little coward. If I broke him, then I could be sure.
What did you have to drag me down here by the river to this Lord-forsaken spot for?
I have been rereading your fortune, and a part of it is so grave, it can't be said in public.
What part? What?
You and another man, whose fortune I also was studying last night, have murdered a woman and a child.
No.
The palm does not lie. The truth is not to be hidden. Your companion's name was Franz Adler.
How did you know that? Who are you?
What's the matter, Kruger? Was it too dark in that cabin for you to remember the man whose wife and child you slaughtered?
Well, it was pitch black. We were only shadows. If I don't remember you, how can
I could feel you were missing a thumb.
Well, I didn't do it. Franz did. I tried to stop him, but I was too late for your wife and the baby. But I made him leave you alone. I saved your life. Now, please, don't kill me.
I have no intention of killing you.
Well, what is it that you want? The money?
Yes.
I don't have it. He took it from me. He has it hidden away.
Then let him find it and bring it to me. Not you. Him. At this spot tonight at the stroke of 12.
Yeah, but how can I be sure that...
You had better be sure.
But the sentries...
If I can avoid them, so can he. If not, I promise you, you will die. I have read it in your palm.
Oh, no, please. I don't want to die.
Then have him meet me here at midnight. Tell him to come by horse and bring the money in the saddlebags. Otherwise, I shall go to the authorities and see you both hung. The man was a coward, Mr. Twain, and superstitious to his roots. I knew my revenge was near at last, and I could taste the sweetness of it. I settled down by the riverbank to wait for the murderer.
At this moment in his story, Mark Twain reports that the dying man sagged back against his pillows, gasping for breath, as though in his last throes. Was he going to be able to finish his story? I'm afraid, like Mark Twain, we're going to have to wait until I return with Act 3.
You've changed, Bernard. You're not the man I married.
What do you mean, Francine?
Remember the way you were, vulnerable. You made mistakes. But now look, you're confident. Everything you do turns out right. It's that book you sent away for.
It's just a catalog from the Consumer Information Center. It lists more than 200 federal publications you can send for on building, fixing, eating.
Buying, selling, working, playing, living.
And more than half of them are free. Yes, Francine, the man you married is gone for good.
All right, Bernard. But would you make just one more mistake for old time's sake?
All right. For you, I'll just replace that window glass like I used to. Whatever you do, learn to do it better. Send for your free catalog. Just write Consumer Catalog, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009. Francine, send for that publication on First Aid.
What was that address?
Pueblo, Colorado, 81009.
It's a cold, hard fact that many things affect your auto insurance premiums, but even if you've been unlucky and have tickets or accidents on your record, or if you're considered to be too young or too old, you don't have to feel rejected. Get some good news by calling Consumers Insurance Service at 482-8666. They care about your problems and can find the solution that's best for you. Shopping around is the name of the game, and if you're smart, you'll play it. Start by calling Consumers Insurance Service at 482-8666. If price and service are important to you, call the 24-hour switchboard now. That's Consumers Insurance Service at 482-8666. It could save you a lot of money. Call now for advice on reasonable automobile insurance rates regardless of your present situation. Consumers Insurance Service can help. 482-8666. It could save you a lot of money. Consumers Insurance Service, call now, 482-8666. This is WBBM, Chicago, News Radio 78. The time, 11:05. It'll be a wet night. 34 degrees the overnight low. A lot of rain expected this evening. 35 degrees now at Midway.
We left Samuel Clemens, better known as Mark Twain, by the bedside of a dying man whose story he later penned and made immortal. Exhausted by his narrative and the reliving of his tragic life, the man had sunk back against his pillows, fighting for breath. Aware that every breath may well be the man's last, Mark Twain leans over him anxiously.
Mr. Ritter. Mr. Ritter.
I'm not done yet. I have to tell you the rest so I can make my request.
It might be better if I fetch a doctor.
No doctor can do anything for me now.
I don't know if you should tax your strength.
What other use have I for it? It won't keep me alive any more than I had determined Franz Adler would live beyond the moment I saw him. I wanted to watch his face, to gloat as he struggled in the death agony, to savor my revenge for my wife and child that he had killed. But that was to be denied me.
He didn't meet the appointment?
Oh, yes. He came, but before midnight, the moon had gone behind heavy clouds, and the night was as pitch black as the night he had come to my cabin. I lay hidden in the mangrove and watched him come on horseback. All I could see was a silhouette and the bulging saddlebags. My knife was in my hand. As he passed me with one leap, I was on him and had him dragged off his horse. And then all the plans went wrong. Instead of being the ambusher, I was ambushed. I drove my knife straight up through his belly, under the rib cage, and into his heart. He was dead before he could cry out. And I had my own life to think of. I mounted the plunging horse. And before the shots rang out, I clapped my heels to him and fled.
So, you had your revenge?
I thought so. Though I was cheated out of the money.
Oh, how so?
By dawn, I had to rest the horse and myself, but when I stripped the saddle and looked in the bags, there wasn't any money. They were stuffed with sage grass and the like.
Did you go back for it?
And put my neck in a noose? No. Besides, I didn't care all that much.
About $25,000?
It was blood money. If I hadn't cheated to get it in the first place, my wife and child might be alive today. Besides, the first man, Kruger, had double-crossed me. You could be sure he had picked up the money, deserted, and faded out of sight as I did.
Well, how did you fade out of sight?
How did Kruger? That's one part of the story. For the moment, the way I did was to beat my way to New Orleans. ship on board as a hand before the mast, stagger across the world waiting only for death. 2 years ago, my health began to fail. And in my purposeless way, I had wandered here into Munich. I had no money, sought work, and was hired to be the night watchman in the dead house you have just visited. I liked it. I felt I belonged among the dead. Then one night, alone in the watchroom, cold, numb, comfortless, the incredible happened. Over my head, the dead bell rang. It was the first time I had ever heard it. For a moment, I was almost paralyzed, and I pulled myself together and ran to the corpse room. On a board table, one of the shrouded corpses, wagging its head from side to side, was sitting upright.
Heaven, help me!
It's all right. I'm here. Are you really alive?
What else? But I am bound. I can't move. I can't talk. Get out of this.
Who are you?
What does it matter? My name, Franz Adler, if you must know.
Franz Adler? Listen, can't be. You are dead.
Dead? Not dead yet, as you can see.
After 17 years.
Oh, what are you talking about? I was only knifed last night. Get me out of this barn.
Yes. First, let me strip the winding cloth from your face.
Yes, that is good.
No, it is you. The same Franz Adler.
What is the matter with you, fool? Unwind the rest of these bandages so I can move. I am dying. Have mercy.
Did you have mercy 20 years or so ago when you murdered my wife and my baby?
What are you talking about?
Napoleon. Do you remember the town in America? Where you and Kruger were stationed as you served your time in the U.S. cavalry?
How could you know about that?
You murdered my wife and baby.
You? Oh, the fortune teller. The one who drove poor Kruger out of his mind.
I had a rendezvous with you by the Mississippi River. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember.
I thought I killed you there, Adler. No man could have lived after the way I sank my knife.
You are right.
And why are you here and still alive?
Because you killed the wrong man. It was Kruger you drove your knife into.
I was stunned. My whole life fell away from under me. I looked at the ghastly specter in front of me, his whole body swathed in bandages, helpless. My prisoner. And all through his stammered explanations, the one inflexible thought in my mind was, you escaped me once, you won't escape this time.
Please, what do you want of me?
I want to know how you're still alive. When I killed you all those years ago.
You talked to that fool Kruger. You scared him half to death. He came to me saying that I had to meet you by the river with the money.
But you sent him instead?
He had no choice. He knew I would kill him unless he obeyed.
Poor, silly little man caught between forces he could not handle. So you double-crossed him, too, and allowed me to kill him first.
What do you mean, first?
Before you started shooting and trying to kill me.
No. That was the watch patrol.
Don't lie to me. Only one person was firing. You would have killed me with as little compunction as you killed my wife and my baby.
No, that was an accident. Look, please, help me out of here. I can make you rich again.
How?
The money, the $25,000, your money.
It isn't all spent by now?
No, it is still hidden where it was 17 years ago.
You didn't take it and spend it?
When Kruger was found dead, I was arrested for his murder. I
managed to escape from the army stockade and flee America back to Germany. I never had a chance to pick up the money.
The money poor Kruger thought he was bringing me in the saddlebags.
Yes, he was a fool. But we have not, We are men. We can make a bargain.
What bargain?
Unloose me from these bandages. Set me free. And I will tell you where to find the money.
How can I trust you?
You can trust me.
As much as you trust me?
Yes.
All right. First, where's the money?
It is in the town of Napoleon, at the corner...
Wait, not so fast. Let me write this down. Napoleon, yes. Corner of...
The corner of Orleans and Market. A brick livery stable. Cut a corner from the courthouse. Third stone, fourth row. Behind... Oh, God, this hurts. Help me out of the bandages.
Why?
I need the doctor. Or I will die.
But you are here in the dead house. You are already dead.
No, I ran the deathbed.
In all the years in this dead house, the dead bell has never rung. I didn't hear it ring.
You came in answer to it.
Did I?
Yeah, and we made a bargain. Please, I told you where the money is. You can have it back.
Can I have my wife back? Or my baby daughter?
You've got to help me.
I will. I caught you escaping from the grave. This time I intend to make sure that you will be thrust into it forever. He had a long, hard death of it. I sat and watched him all the time. It was all of 3 hours and 6 minutes from the time he rang the bell.
That's a terrible story. I'm sorry you told me all this.
I had to be sure you would do me this last favor.
And what is that?
Take this, please.
What is it?
It's the directions where to find the money. In Napoleon, Mr. Clemens. You expect to be there in the next year. I want you to find it and send it...
Send it to you?
No. I shall be gone by then. After Adler died, I spent some months making inquiries. Kruger's death was very much on my mind. I found he had a son, a shoemaker at number 14 Königstrasse, Mannheim. A widower with some young children. I want the money to go to him as some amends. The man did try to save my wife and child's life. It was a poor recompense for me to, even in accident, take his life.
This tortured man was dead. And he had laid on me a heavy burden. Within the next year, here I was on the Mississippi, nearing Napoleon, with my scribbled directions of how to find a fortune that I was far from morally sure anyone should own. But, willy-nilly, I was cursed with having to make that decision.
Well, Miss Clemens, you've been a stranger during the voyage.
We're approaching a landfall I must make. I don't know if it's a regular port of call for you.
Well, where might that be?
Napoleon.
Napoleon?
Yeah, that's right.
You wish me to land you there?
Have you any objection?
Me, for myself, no. But I just don't hardly know how I could go about it.
What do you mean?
Well, about 7 years ago, the Arkansas River crested and busted right through Napoleon, tore it all to rags, and emptied it into the Mississippi. Why, right this moment, the boat is paddling dead center over where the town used to be. There just isn't any Napoleon anymore.
No secret cache of soiled money. And a way out from under a promise I never should have made. I've always loved the Mississippi, and I love her still. Among all her other virtues, the lady knows how to bury her dead.
A complex story, related by a master storyteller, sandwiched among fact and fiction in Mark Twain's account of his return to the Mississippi. Is it true? I can only quote Mr. Twain himself. I was gratified to be able to answer promptly, and I did. I said, I didn't know. I'll be back shortly.
Take your contact, take it now. Give your code to contact.
Can your cold medicine fight the congestion, shrink the swollen membranes, help relieve the runny, sneezy, cloggy misery caused by every known cold virus? Are you sure? Contact can. Today's Contact does all that up to 12 hours, all day, all night, no matter what cold virus attacks. That's the wonder of Contact.
Give your code to contact.
Take only as directed.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gregory Peck. With original designs and paintings contributed by leading artists of every continent, UNICEF greeting cards are a beautiful way to give, available all over the world through voluntary non-profit organizations. When you buy UNICEF greeting cards, you're helping to feed, clothe, and educate needy children. Help the children of the world through UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund.
Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Under either name, he is one of America's immortals. Changing times may make succeeding generations less aware of him, but somewhere, always, there will be those to rediscover him and not allow him to die, as he himself was unwilling to when, in reply to a false news story, he sent the famous cable to the New York press. The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. Our cast included Leon Janney, Bryna Rayburn, Robert Dryden, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
And now, a preview of our next tale. The only way to learn how to swim is to jump in the water, right?
I simply can't make you understand, can I?
Maybe I can make you understand. Forget it. You want to get that dinner ready? I'm hungry.
Yes, I'm going now.
Look, why don't you change first?
Change?
Yeah, your clothes. Get more comfortable.
Well, yes, I think I'd like to do that, George. I won't be long. George, there's a dog on our bed. A horrible big dog.
Take it easy. That's my surprise. That's it. Tell her.
Get him out of here. Please, George, take him away.
It's only a dog, for Pete's sake. He's not going to hurt you.
Get it out, George. Please.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule, and True Value hardware stores. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
WBBM Chicago News Radio 78. Time 11:23. CBS Radio Network News in 1 minute.
You're
invited to Northwest Federal's grand opening celebration. It's another new savings center in Elmhurst, Elk Grove, with free gifts for savers and a Hawaiian vacation sweepstakes. Stop by any Northwest Federal Savings Center, including Elmhurst, Elk Grove, and choose from over 20 terrific gifts. Free or for special low prices with a deposit of $250 or more. Our new Elmhurst Savings Center has the same convenient hours as all our Northwest Federal Savings Centers, 63 hours a week. Come celebrate our Elmhurst grand opening. You could win one of 2 free trips to Hawaii. No transaction is necessary. Void where prohibited. Entrance must be 18 years of age or older. Contest ends March 8th, 1979. Register today at any Northwest Federal location, including including both our new locations at Elmhurst and Elk Grove.
It's Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
One more time.
It's Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
CBS News, the Shah of Iran says he won't abdicate. His political opposition says that won't do. I'm David Jackson reporting on the CBS Radio Network. The embattled Shah has reportedly agreed to let the number 2 man in the opposition National Front try to form a civilian government that might see an end to the political and economic chaos of the country. But others in the National Front coalition, including its leader, Karim Sanjabi, say the Shah must abdicate the throne, something the palace says he will not do. The palace is denying reports that any of the Shah's immediate family, or in fact the Shah himself, have left the country. But United Press International quotes a source at Los Angeles Airport as saying, an Iranian Air Force Boeing 747, scheduled to have landed there an hour ago, carried the Shah's mother. The plane came from Iran, refueled at McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey early Friday evening. U.S. and Iranian officials keeping secret its exact movements and mission. Meanwhile, authorities in Tehran and other Iranian cities are bracing for possible violence Saturday. The exiled leader of the Shia Muslims calling for widespread demonstrations, a day of mourning marking the first anniversary of the start of Iran's current troubles. That leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, is living in Paris, and Joan Shore has some background.
Khomeini arrived here last October. He moved into a cottage outside Paris, which has become his headquarters in exile. Hundreds of his countrymen from Iran, Western Europe, and the United States arrive there every week to meet and pray with him. His neighbors in the small community have begun to complain about the crowds, and it's said that his landlord is unwilling to renew his lease, which expires mid-January. Khomeini's presence here has also been criticized by French conservatives, but the government has been largely tolerant up to now and simply has warned him not to preach violence. Joan Shore for CBS News, Paris.
More news after this.
Take your contact, take it now. Give your code to contact.
I'm going to change your mind about nighttime cold medicine. You see, of all major medicines, only one works up to 12 hours against the cloggy virus symptoms that keep you awake. Only Contact. One capsule's relief stays with you all through a long night's sleep, no matter what cold virus attacks. Only Contact.
Give your code to contact.
Take only as directed.
Look at this. This is JCPenney.
And this is the Great White Sale, with every sheet in every JCPenney store on sale now. All at great prices, like twin-size muslins from $1.99 or twin percales from $2.99. You'll find great buys on bedding, even our thick towels, plus draperies, too. All in our Great White Sale now.
This is JCPenney.
Officials at Fort Bragg Friday said some of the soldiers there who helped out in the airlift of bodies from the People's Temple Commune in Guyana brought back unauthorized souvenirs. They say a joint FBI-Army investigation is ongoing. No word just what the souvenirs are, but one spokesman says nothing of great monetary value has been found. Only, quote, the kind of thing a typical soldier might pick up as a memento. More survivors from the mass suicide murder at the commune returned to the U.S. Friday night, 8 arriving at New York's Kennedy Airport, including Tim Carter, a top aide to the late Reverend Jim Jones, all taken aside for questioning by FBI and Secret Service agents. If fines and admonitions don't work to keep drunk drivers off the road, a county judge in Pittsburgh is going to try electronics, ordering second offenders to install in their cars a push-button device, as Court Clerk Wayne Kelly explains.
The device is set up to the electrical system of the car, and if his reaction is slow enough, then he can't get his car started. And it's primarily aimed at drunk driving.